Hello, my name's Jeff, Polynesian Shores. I just wanted to throw a few tips out there on how to eliminate some of the chemicals. We're told a lot of things about how chemicals can help a pool or whatever. There are minimum standards that we all have to use. But the thing that I find is when you start adding clarifiers and things to make it shiny and all these other little gimmicks that you're actually doing is more harm than good, not only to the water, but in the long run to your pool. And if you've ever had cyanic acid buildup and you've destroyed 25,000 gallons of water, you would know it's because there's too many chemicals being put in constantly in the pool. What I've learned over the years is to not use chemicals, just the basic ones. Keep the pH level right, keep the chlorine level. Sometimes I keep it at a minimum. If there's rain coming, I will keep it at a minimum, knowing that when the pool fills, I can do a backwash. This way you're not using any water that from our system, and the water is of course dechlorinated now. So when you're cleaning the pool out, you're not wasting any chemicals or putting chemicals into the waste system, as well as you're not having to use water. This is probably one of the biggest things that I can think of, is keep your pool clean. Just take the time every day, wipe the sides with a cloth to get the oils off, a scrubber in the cloth. That way you can dispose of it. It doesn't go into your filtering system. But if you keep a clean pool and you keep your pH balance right, you should not have to use all these other chemicals. And the less the better for everybody, for our treatment plant, for your customers, and of course to avoid cyanic acid buildup. So those are my biggest tips on the pool. Just keep it clean, keep it simple, and don't use as much chemicals. And I have other tips as far as watering goes. If you notice, we have a big ground here. I also do is I look at the weather, and if it looks like it's going to be raining, I shut off all the sprinklers, because there's no point. That's not even Pono. So let Mother Nature do whatever they can, and then you do the rest. As far as that goes, if you notice, our grass is pretty green, but there are areas where it'll be a little bit brown sometimes, and sometimes it's because you need fertilizers. Well, the thing is if you're going to fertilize, you don't have to fertilize your whole grounds. You can just do a little spotted area where you know that's going to be the biggest problem, and that way you minimize the use of any fertilizers on the grounds. And now I do have another tip. If you notice, we had barbecue pits over there. Now this is kind of important, because a lot of people tend to use oven off or cleaners like that, really hardcore cleaners, and then they'll rinse it out right there. Guess where those chemicals go? Come on. I don't use any of that stuff. What I do is I have spare parts. I have a big bin, and I can use, a lot of times you can use lemon soap and maybe vinegar, and let it soak for a few days, and now you've reduced the amount of cost to clean your barbecue pits, as well as the amount of chemicals you use to also clean your barbecue pits. And that way you're not doing anything out here to put any chemicals on the ground or around their food, because let's face it, those chemicals like oven off, things like that, they're very, very harsh. So let's try and get away from that. People tell me you can also use lemon soap and what's the I'm trying to think of? It can be a little bit tougher. I need a thought on that. It's a little bit tougher than vinegar, but you can use a mixture of home products that just are not as intrusive. And the truth is if you have extra parts and you soak them for 2 or 3 days, it's going to come right off. It's really easy to do. So now you're not flushing chemicals down the system, you're not getting them in your yard, and you've done it cheaper than you could if you were just using the standard Easy Off or other garbage that they make. I do encourage you to stay away from that for your guests, for the land, and for your budget.